And Chris.
And Christopher. Still here. We're going to get into entertainment news, and I can't wait to jump right in with this one because I wanted to talk about it so bad last week. This Korryn Gaines situation. I honestly am tired. I haven't talked about it in days because I've been tired of debating fools online. But I believe the bitch was crazy. Not to call her a bitch derogatorily. I'm just saying, generally, she was crazy.
I agree. She was bonkers.
So here's why. So I understand that there's some people that look some things up that try to support her mindset. What is it? Sovereign, whatever, how you pronounce it, sovereign citizen, where apparently you can decide that you don't deal with society. But if you're a tax-paying citizen, that shit's already out the window. If you're gaining a wage in some way, shape, or form, you have an apartment, you have credit. You're not.
And those are special circumstances also.
Right, like you got to be like some Amish dude in the middle of some off-grid ass field living your own life substantiated by yourself. You can't be literally trying to just like live in Randallstown, Maryland, where it's an actual town with a car and kids and going about your daily life, saying that you don't abide to the laws of the land because they're there for a reason. Like you can't even park a car on the street without having tags on it. It has to be in a driveway.
Exactly. I agree with you. I think she was crazy. I think people need to pick their battles. But rest in peace to her, because
it's fucked up. I still
don't think cops needed to shoot her. I think if you're a cop and you scared of a little woman, you should be able to disarm.
She had a
shotgun.
She had a shotgun. If she was unarmed, they couldn't do the scared thing. And I normally hate the I'm in fear for my life thing. But if a woman or man or kid has a loaded shotgun
and it's not all there,
that's totally different.
And it's telling you they're gonna kill you. At the end of the day, you got to put yourself in the cop shoes at that point. I need to go home too. And if it's gonna be between the two of us, it's gonna be you. Like you're not about to just shoot me because you wilding.
I mean, I think a lot of people talk and not know all the facts because I don't know all the facts. I don't know if they tried to talk her down, how long they tried to talk her down.
It was a 6-hour standoff, 6 or 7. So they definitely tried to talk her down. Even like apparently her mom had been in the mix on the phone and was saying that she needed help and shit. Like they tried to talk the bitch down and she wasn't budging.
I seen the video how she got arrested initially. And she was crazy. She was ready to die for hers. And, certain people need to pick their battles because any person that's willing to get their kids in the system over a routine traffic stop, when they was trying to let her go.
I've never seen such patient cops. She was so belligerent and they were so patient. I've never seen that before. Like if anyone knows me, know that I don't fuck with cops. I've had my own bad experiences. I don't fuck with them, but I can respect when a cop does their job in the way they're supposed to. And those cops in both instances follow protocol to the T. That's it. They did.
Even ran down on the cops. If I even got out the car, they
she got out of the car and walked. She did run down. Get out of the car, like ever. This shit was crazy. Why do you think you can drive around with cardboard on your place that says, "Oh, you can't pull me over. I'm a free driver"? Like, no, bitch.
She was bonkers.
You need papers.
I drove around with cardboard on my car before. I got stopped and I just told the cop what happened. And they moved on.
It could have been as simple as that.
Yeah, she wanted to fight with them. You could tell certain people that want to fight with the cops.
She was combative immediately, like off top. He only came up and asked for her license and registration. She's like, "Who are you? And give me your ID." He already identified himself as a police officer. That's who he is. He's the officer that's pulling you over because you don't have any tags, period. And what bothers me, one of the things that bothers me the most, because there's a couple of them. One of the things that bothers me is everyone trying to place this in line with the Black Lives Matter movement. And this is not one of those situations. This isn't someone that was just slain for a routine traffic stop and they just shot them for no reason. This was someone who had a traffic stop, went well overboard, still was only given a notice to appear, didn't show up for that, so got a bench warrant and had the warrant delivered to her for them to find her with a shotgun threatening their lives. This was someone that clearly wanted something to happen.
Shorty was ready to die on some martyr type of tip.
I wouldn't even call her a martyr.
No. That's I think her perception Because you could tell the whole time she was telling her kids, I prepared my kids for this. Like, I prepared my kids for this.
When they took her out the car, she's like, I can't breathe. Record this. I feel like she was obsessed with cop death. I feel like she wanted to be one of the people that have been killed by cops. Yeah. So that she could be talked about like we talk about it now. She wanted to be talked about. I think
more mental issue than the black thing. And she had problems.
Maybe let her be the poster child for fucking mental health issues. But this is not a Sandra Bland. I'm tired of seeing people say her name and all. This is not that. This is not that. And I would be offended if I was one of the Black Lives Movement people, like family members of like Eric Garner. Like, don't put her in line with these people that lost their lives senselessly.
This is closer to a Gen 6 type of thing instead of like,
this girl I feel like committed suicide by cop for real.
I think she was ready to die, and that should have been addressed more than anything.
I feel also frustrated with folks that keep like comparing her to like Assata Shakur and shit and Malcolm X. She was not a revolutionary because they would have not put their kids in these situations. Like,
but on the contrary, look at what society made her kind of this way.
No, social media, I think, did. Watching too many cop videos online made her.
But it's happening though.
That doesn't make her a revolutionary.
It didn't make her a revolutionary. It's just showing what society is making people making.
I feel like maybe she was fed up with cops and didn't pick her battles wisely, or did not understand how to go about fighting battles.
I agree with that, but you can't deny that we're moving in a different situation. She took it to a whole nother level. But it is what it is. Society is pushing black people and people with brown and black people to a certain mental. That is just like, yo, you on guard as soon as you see the cops. And some people you're going to get to the point that some people just pop off. And I think she was at that level but a lot of people not on that level yet.
Diamond, what do you think?
As far as was she crazy?
In general, what are your thoughts?
I don't necessarily know. I mean, I know that she has some lead, stuff going on that affects people. So I think that part is part of the problem. She was also very militant. I think that you might be on to something as far as wanting to entice these type of interactions with the police. To me, if you're driving around in a way that's going to get you pulled over, and you obviously want to get pulled over, you know what I mean? Because if she didn't, she would not have had those tags like that. So the warrant that they were serving was the warrant for the tag thing. Is that the warrant that they were serving?
She didn't get a ticket for that. They gave her a notice to appear. And whenever you don't show up for that, you get a bench warrant for your arrest. Now, they could have very easily not gone and got her, but they were probably on some shit like, yo,
but this is the thing.
Fuck this.
Because had she been in Baltimore City, they wouldn't have did that. But because she was in Baltimore County, it was less cases. In Baltimore City, they ain't got time to do that. But it's too much. We got too many cases to be serving these warrants. We might try one time. You'll answer the door. Okay, you wasn't there. Fine. We put the little thing, tape the little thing on it.
Baltimore County don't play.
Baltimore County, they had more time. So it's just like, okay.
And she lived right across the street from the fucking station.
That too. That ain't got nothing to do. You know what I mean? We can go all of us serve this warrant, but she is right across the street too.
Literally.
She should have picked a better.
So I don't understand why people keep arguing that point. Oh, why would SWAT need to be there for a warrant? Well, SWAT came after them trying to give her the warrant turned into her threatening them with a shotgun. Like, and then people like, well, how do we know it was a gun? Why are we questioning like everything?
I saw a picture of her on her social media with the said gun.
I saw a video of her loading the said gun. Now people keep claiming that's 2 weeks earlier. Regardless, we know she had a gun. And if people are saying, and there are apparently eyewitnesses, people that live near there or like next door that saw what was going on. And eyewitnesses are saying the bitch had a gun. So why are we questioning that fact? Like, that bothers me. Everyone wants to make everything a conspiracy.
People don't trust the police.
People question that. People skew anything for the movement. And
police do lie though.
They do. But in this instance, I feel like they did too much to try to be straight and narrow to have lied at the last minute.
I think a lot of people just gonna get her back just because
she's black.
We're in the times that we in. It's
because she's black. Like, I literally had someone tell me the other day that I'm not black because she felt like we're supposed to ride for this chick, right or wrong, simply because she's black. She's like, black people, we don't stick together no matter what. No, see, that's the difference. That's the problem.
Hold on a second.
If you're wrong,
I understand. Her mentality is that white people, other races stick together no matter what, and then handle it amongst each other. That does happen.
That does. But that doesn't mean that if somebody
even when they're wrong, they stick
wrong
together a lot of times.
So, a lot of times, but not all the time, because they'll still tell you.
Nothing's all the time.
But they'll still tell you that somebody's wrong if someone is flat out wrong. You know,
not all the time.
Not all the time, but they will if someone's flat out wrong.
Hold on.
I think the wrong issue. There's so many
instances of police officers being wrong.
Okay, we're
not talking about police. That people take their back regardless.
Not police. I'm talking about just general. If someone is flat out wrong, for instance, you're not going to see niggas riding the coattails of somebody that shoots up Sandy Hook. Like, they're not going to say, I get that he had mental issues, but he was okay. Like, in any instance, though, if somebody is doing something like just flat out wrong that you can't defend, more than likely they're not gonna outside of the cops, because people feel a different way about cops.
I had this question for you. So, like, you don't think the cops had ego in the situation? Ego. Because, all right, you said it was 6 hours, right? Mm-hmm. But still, it was still one girl in there with her kid. You don't think they could have talked her down?
The more I think you're on something. The more I think about it, the more I say they probably should not have shot her, because yes, this is one woman.
Mm-hmm. Not a hostage situation.
You know what I mean? It wasn't they may try to twist it like that, but it wasn't a hostage situation. She's in her home. She has a shotgun. I have seen them having altercations with white people with guns, and they didn't get shot.
I've seen both, though. There have been instances of white guys or white women dying in the same instances. Just like, of course, there's going to be instances where they don't. However, of course, there could have been ways that they could have went about not killing her, but we don't know.
It's up to the person.
And we don't know how dire the situation was at the time that shots were fired.
You mean like, was it a shift grade change?
Like, or we don't know if the energy changed or she started getting, like, we don't know what happened right before the shots were fired. I say this to say the record, like the actual record with that kind of stuff for Baltimore County, they had only had 2 police involved shootings in however long, and neither of them were fatal. So it says a lot to me that a police department on a whole that has only been involved in 2 shootings actually has a fatal one. That means a lot to me.
You do know that Baltimore County just had a fatal one. She was fatal.
That's what I'm talking about. She was the first fatal one that they've had. I think it was like 10 years that they said. In 10 years, they've had 3 shootings now, and that was the only fatal one, which means that they're not negligent in that regard. They don't just shoot people.
I think they still fucked up, though.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that it's something to consider.
I see why that girl said you weren't black now.
I think it's something too hard
for the folks.
I'm not, because like
you are riding too hard.
Even though they don't kill people,
like
they've done some cruddy things. Like, I've been walking. I moved with my father once in the county for like a year, and let me tell you, that's the first time I've really been profiled. Like, what? Could you go on, blah blah blah? Like, I'm going to me and my homeboy going to the store to get some gum and stuff. This when do-rags was popping, so we going in the store to get some gum and stuff. We walking. I'm talking about 20 cars stopped just thinking we stole a car, and we walking. Listen, but they are the most. I would rather deal with the city police than the county police.
They are bad. Listen, I'm not saying that they're not bad in those senses. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people getting killed by them. Because I have been also, I just told them a few months ago about my instance where they swore my car saying that I stole my own car and shit. Like, I've not ever had any good instances with cops on the one-on-one. I don't have good experiences with cops. I don't fuck with cops personally, but I recognize things that make sense. And if the record shows that this is the first person they've killed in 10 years, it tells me that in that realm, they're not negligent. I'm not saying they don't still harass people.
I personally don't know if Shorty was pushed to that limit. That's what I want to know.
Like, what's
her 5-year background with cops? That's what I want to know. Because I want to know, because she was ready to die for the cause, and I want to know why.
I heard people saying that she had some kind of suit against them because allegedly they made her have a miscarriage. I don't know how true that is, because
I did hear that too.
But Here's why I don't know how true that is. This is the same person that was in the car telling the cops that she's not going to let them kidnap her and her kids and steal her car. I'm sorry, do you mean arrest you and impound your car that doesn't have tags? So I don't really feel like anything she says about the cops is credible based off of the way she considers normal things. She considers being arrested, being kidnapped. She considers having her car impounded, having it stolen.
But I will say this: if it was a white girl, she'd have left. They'd have let her go. 6 out of 10 times they'd have let her go. I really
don't honestly feel this was about race.
How about this?
They would have let her go.
How about 10 out of 10 times had she been white, they would have let her go. I mean, not let her go.
Without
let her live. They would let her live. I'm talking about the shot.
They let her with the cop.
With the shotgun. With the shotgun, white girl. Say it had been a white lady, baby in there, whole thing.
They would have negotiated for a day.
It was longer than that. Do you remember Waco, Texas? Okay, maybe before your time a little bit, but they had a whole compound with people in there, guns, that whole thing that went on for almost a week. 1 week. Now, there was more people in there and all that kind of stuff. But my point is that eventually they went in, bombed that whole thing. People died. Right. Yeah. But it took a long time to get to that point.
Think about it in Oregon when those people took over a federal building.
Okay, right. Those gun laws put over a federal building.
It took days for them to come in there and kill them.
We're talking about multiple people in both instances. That's them trying to negotiate. Okay.
A federal building is a federal building. If it was black, they would have came in there off the break. Yeah. I feel bad for Shorty.
Here's the thing. I just feel like we always take everything to black and white. I don't feel like this instance,
because it gotten to that point.
I don't feel like this instance was about that. I feel like if you just take the scenario itself, everything that happened, despite whatever color, if we took it for what it is, for every single thing that happened in this scenario, I think it would have went the same way on either end. Because again, this was about somebody who had a skewed view of what their rights were and was a radical based on that. So I don't really feel like this is because she was black. I really feel like it's because the bitch was crazy.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I mean, they made her follow the laws, but then they followed the laws in Mike Brown. Then they followed. Didn't Zimmerman follow the laws in Trayvon? Like, the law is not meant for us.
Turning to black people, like, that's the problem with us, though. Like, we're so sensitive to it because we go through it. I get that we go through it
because it's real.
But that doesn't mean that everything is that.
It does. It's like Kevin Bacon, 6 degrees separation. It comes to it at one point. Some reason it goes right back to the race.
Everything is not apples. Some things are oranges. Like, period. Everything is not going to be apples. But it's never going to always be apples. People keep saying it.
But they all come. Apples and oranges all come from the soil. So it comes from the same thing.
That's what everybody keeps saying. Yeah.
Okay, pull this picture up.
Rest in peace to Shorty. I feel bad for her.
I feel bad for her children. I do not feel bad for her.
City nice fact.
But anyway, we're gonna move on. So apparently Bow Wow had a couple things come out about him in the past couple weeks. So first he said that
this nigga want attention.
Big time. First, he said that he can't relate to civil rights issues because he's mixed. Bow Wow.
Stop.
Bow Wow. Where's the camera? Bow Wow. Come on now. Shad Moss. You have never been mixed up until now. All of a sudden, you're mixed. I think I've seen
this one too.
That one. Yeah. I know I've seen your mother. Her name is Teresa. Yeah. I don't know if I've seen your dad. I'm pretty sure I did because I used to be a stand back in the day. I used to watch every little kind of behind the scenes shit. So I'm pretty sure I've seen your dad. And them niggas is black. Please stop.
So you gonna ride black culture for all your career, and all of a sudden you not black?
All of a sudden, you don't, my nigga. You don't even look mixed. Stop. You cannot. The only reason your mother's eyes are hazel. That's why your eyes are hazel. It's not because you're half white. You're black.
He's probably like a quarter Indian.
You're fucking black. Stop. Like, you might have some distant relative that's like Spanish or some shit, but y'all niggas is black.
I say your race is whatever the police classify you as.
Well,
so you can be light skinned. If the police say we got a black male, you're black.
Nah.
Your grandma could be white.
Back to police and black people
because that's how I classify race. That's how I classify race.
Listen,
you're not black, Bow Wow.
You're fucking black.
You got pulled over. We got a 5'8" black male.
He don't even look like he got Indian in his family.
Bow Wow, he used to sing "Shorty Like Mine."
And then today or yesterday, I think it was yesterday, he announced that he's retiring from rap. The funniest thing I saw someone say was, Bow Wow, we already retired you about 10 years ago. We already decided that for you.
Shout out to he had hits though.
He did about 15 years ago.
I saw Bow Wow in concert.
Like I said, I was a stand. I had 32 Bow Wow posters on my wall. 32.
Oh, you didn't like B2K?
I did, but I loved Bow Wow.
Bow Wow. He was the wave.
I used to talk about like going to fucking Ohio and finding him. Me and my father talked about it. We'd take a road trip out there. That would be his son-in-law. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna find him.
We had like a little summer jam in Baltimore, and the Brat and Jermaine Dupri was performing, and Bow Wow came out. He shut the shit down.
I bet.
And I was like, we were same age. I was like 13.
Yeah, I was in. Yo, Bow Wow was the shit in his time. Yo, in his prime, Bow Wow was the shit. He was a little nigga rocking a little Mickey Mouse chain and shit.
He took the wrong career path. He'd have still been relevant. He went the gangster route.
He didn't.
If he went the Out route, he would have still been popping.
Nah, I don't see. I don't.
What?
Because once he started writing his own rhymes, it just wasn't the same.
What if he was like a love rapper instead of try to do the gangster thing? Well, you know, what's the song? He Diss Romeo.
I don't know.
If he'd have been like a love rapper, like an LO type, he'd have been popping still. He would have been.
I don't know, bro. So
you should have went down that Drake.
Exactly.
He could have did that.
You look at Drake job.
Here's what happened.
He could have did that. He could have did that.
Yeah. Bow Wow let niggas pump his head up.
Yeah. Bow Wow always has thought more of himself than there was. Like always has. Even down to the one video of him walking with this hoodie on, and he's like, "There's a bunch of kids behind me on a school trip. Oh, I hope they don't know it's me. It's fine. Take your hood off. I'm sure they'll be fine, and you'll be fine if they know it's you."
I would have said, "What's up, Bow Wow?"
They'd have walked right by old Shad Moss. Shad.
Bow Wow went down because of Sierra. It's the curse of Sierra.
The curse is there's a curse?
Sierra got a curse.
Does she?
Yes, think about it.
I think you're right.
Bow Wow went down after he hit. And 50 went down after he hit. And Future went down. He had to come back.
He's back though.
He's back. He recovered from these.
But what about the nigga now?
Russell Wilson fucked up in the playoffs. I bet you he had a bad year.
He had a bad year last year.
I was about to say, let's see what happens.
He had a subpar year.
It's the curse of the Sierra.
People said the same thing about Jessica Simpson though, because she dated a couple, I think, football players, and they had bad seasons too.
Some women have cursed boxes.
R&B singers who can't sing, girls who can't sing, it's cursed.
Dun dun dun.
Gotta have a muse box.
Not Beyonce, she's no curse.
So I saw a clip from Amber Rose's show. If you guys didn't know, she has a show.
She talks crazy.
Bruh, she's discussing in this clip
she's
how
a bird.
She wants to have another baby with Khalifa, and she always asks him for his sperm, and instead he says no, but puts them on her face instead. I was like,
she should be ashamed of herself.
Why did she say that on national
She a bird.
I can't. That's why he don't want to be with her.
You have a kid. Act accordingly.
She said he just put them on my face instead. Thanks, sis.
And you got like a 8-year-old son or something. He gotta go to school. They busting in your mother's face. Like your kid is getting to the age that his peers. He's 3. I apologize.
He's 3 or 2 or something.
She's still a bird though.
But she's she's a fucking thought.
She is. She should be ashamed of herself.
However, she is an attractive thought.
She's very attractive,
nonetheless.
Very
Don't
attractive.
act like that when you're a mama.
She's off the wall. I feel like why the fuck did they give her? It's clearly not gonna make it past the first season, but that shit was crazy to me. I couldn't believe what I saw. It can't be. But anyway,
you're right though. It must not be that good because she can't keep it man.
She is one step away from loving hip hop.
She has a beautiful.
That's what
vagina,
she need to be on.
That's good. Yeah,
she
has a beautiful vagina. Let me tell you, I seen it on Twitter some years ago.
Pussy don't keep a nigga.
It was perfect looking, but it don't because they can find one like as soon as they walk out the door. But it was beautiful. Yeah,
that's why Wiz is gone. He's like, man, that's not the wife type. Let me get out of here.
Exactly. He realized he's smart.
She probably can't even cook.
She had him gone for a while.
If you think your box is the,
she don't look like she can cook.
If you think your box is the wave and keep a man, you're done. You're gonna get cheated on.
You are.
100%.
You are.
Get a hobby.
Yeah, I can attest to that. You will not attest, but I can agree with that because at the end of the day, like I said, but like vaginas don't even come a dime a dozen. They literally are just like everywhere.
Even if it's a good vagina, it's other perks. Like, it's a good meal. She really held me down. She don't look like she do that. She's just a bird that's really just. I'm gonna keep it with my vagina. I'm gonna keep it with my looks.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
fuck Amber Rose.
So, Frank Ocean has been playing games with us for years, and allegedly, his album was supposed to come out on Friday, and here we are on Tuesday with still no fucking album.
Keep him waiting, Frank. Keep him waiting, Frank.
Stop fucking playing with us, Frank.
It's like the Compton album. Keep him waiting, Frank.
Niggas tired. Niggas motherfucking tired.
It's going to build more demand.
No, go ahead, Frank. I could really stand to have some new Frank Ocean. It's been like 5-6 years since we had some. So
he be rocking.
He do.
Keep him waiting, Frank. All this trashy music, just keep him waiting. Cause think about it. You gonna release your good music when the trashy music is popping?
It's gonna keep being popping. Like he has to break up the monotony of the trashy music.
Or is it gonna get swamped in by the trashy music?
No, because it's Frank Ocean, so people are gonna stop what they're listening to.
They're gonna say
pick it up.
The radio gonna be like, should I bump this good Frank Ocean or this trashy Lil Uzi Vert?
They're gonna bump both. That's how they keep their ratings up. But anyway, so just a couple random things. McNuggets are losing their artificial preservatives and whatnot. Did you hear that?
I heard something, but not like that.
So I don't really know what it means. I still don't feel like it's safe to eat them.
I heard that they're not using the red meat no more, but they're going back to the chicken breast.
They never use red meat.
No, rib.
Rib?
Yeah, that's why it looked like that when you bite into it.
No, it looks like that because they take all this extra shit and ground it up and turn it into like.
Yeah, it was mostly the rib part of the chicken. The rib.
The rib?
Yeah, the rib. But now they're gonna use the breast, so it's gonna be more healthy.
Ugh. Allegedly, they were using breast. They've been saying all white meat.
No, if you bite into a McNugget and you see it's a little brownish, that's the rib part. The gristle.
Fuck. That's why they're not safe. They're not safe. I don't fuck with them. I will not. And I feel like even with them losing these preservatives, they're not going to be safe. And I just don't. I'm not here for the shit at all. But moving on from that nasty shit. Did y'all see Malia Obama shaking her little booty at the concert?
Yes, I did.
Right.
She twerked like a white girl.
Let the little girl have her fun. She's out there having her little fun at the concert.
No.
She wasn't. Like, when I first saw someone talk about it, I was like, oh, God. Like, the first Obama scandal, she's twerking. But and then I look, I'm like.
Obama daughters can't be like George W. Bush's daughter.
She's not twerking. She's dancing.
You got more of a responsibility being Obama's daughter.
Yeah, they don't play that. The other kid has a summer job. This one, she just had a concert with her friends. She was just dancing like a little white girl. She
did twerk like a white girl.
She ain't twerk, she just shake her booty. There's a difference.
That's how white girls twerk though.
There's a difference between twerking and shaking your booty.
No.
Yes, there is.
I mean it is, but that's how white girls twerk.
No, twerking is literally I can't do it. The whole shebang, but then like
yeah.
No, I can't.
But that's how you twerk.
You just you can shake your booty or some bullshit. You can just like kind of dance.
She lifted her skirt all the way up. Like, no.
You're right.
Conduct yourself.
You're right.
Who's right?
You can't do it.
No, I can't. I don't dance.
She has more responsibility than George W. daughters. Don't do it. Only in private.
Malia, you go have your fun outside with your friends. It was fine. You were dancing like a little girl. Should dance. Anyway.
You're not regular. Stop it.
So did you guys hear that they want to start having after school Satan clubs in schools?
Damn.
Like the Satanic Church wants them to have after school clubs for kids to learn about Satan.
Like volunteer or
like just have a club.
Hey, it's America. If you want to have it voluntary, if you want your kid to go to a Satan club, then that's your fault.
What do you think of this, Benny?
I don't quite understand what you mean.
Like after school clubs where they learn about Satan. It's about Satan. It's after school
Satan?
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what they want to do, yeah. I mean, I don't give a.
I think it's a little bit wild.
If it ain't mandatory,
we got freedom over here. So, you can teach your kids about whatever you want to teach your kids about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it don't bother me.
If you practice Satanism and you want your kids
to bring them up in the faith.
Yeah. Same as going to Sunday school.
I guess I get it in that respect, but I just feel like it's a bit extreme. I don't think kids should be subject to certain shit, similar to our prior conversation.
You don't think kids should be subject to anything?
No, I believe in preserving innocence, and I don't think teaching them about Satan does that.
You can't preserve innocence in this type of world. It's gotta go.
That is hard, but it's not impossible.
It's not healthy.
Innocence isn't healthy?
I mean, in this sense, no. I mean, what I just said has no merit to Satanism. But in a macro perspective, innocence is not good.
Please expand upon that.
Yeah, I don't want my kid innocent past 6. You're gonna know the world. Look, I'm gonna sit my son down.
Not saying ignorant, innocent, but meaning innocent, that they're a kid and kids.
No, it's hand in hand with me. Like if you try to innocence, you being ignorant. You thinking everybody's equal.
A kid should stay in a kid's place for as long as they can be. Like kids should not have to worry about things that they don't need to worry about. Kids should literally just have carefree lives because their parents are there to bear the burdens and take care of shit.
Now my future kid, they're gonna be strapped with knowledge. Santa Claus ain't real at the 7. You're gonna know the world. If you look, they're gonna try to kill you, son. You gotta be top notch.
But if your son is 7 and he's not even fucking in the streets, why does he need to know that?
But he gonna be 13 one day.
Yeah, when he's 13, you can tell him.
No, it's too late.
Why is it too late?
Because he could already make a mistake and get hit.
Why would he make a mistake prior to that?
Because I raised my kid to be innocent. All of a sudden at 13, he goes outside and get killed.
No, I'm gonna tell you why. The reason
Go
why.
ahead, Dale. I don't know.
I know.
Satan.
What is that?
Satan?
Oh my God.
Anyway, no, that's way too early.
It's too early.
Yeah, but that's my opinion. He believes everything needs to happen quick. You already said the kids you learn about sex in preschool.
I seen my first rated R movie at 5.
You seen what?
My first rated R movie at 5.
I don't mean
that was too early.
But I learned the world. You talking about. I learned the world quick though. Like I knew what to do by the time I was 10. I wasn't ignorant of how the world perceives me. Cause as soon as you turn a certain age, they don't give a fuck.
You
could be innocent. You could be innocent all you want. In your mind, they're gonna treat you how you treat you. So it was better for me to know than to just going like, oh no.
Chris, were you a latchkey kid?
What does that mean?
Were your parents always working?
And did you have to be home by yourself and you had a key and you let yourself in? You was in the house by yourself and outside unsupervised.
I can agree. I never had a curfew.
Okay.
So that's part. So
this is why you feel this way.
Kids need to not know every little thing and need to be supervised.
Really?
Yes.
I knew about the bills.
What's missing from your scenario is the proper supervision. True. That's what's missing from your scenario.
True. Exactly.
But I think I'm more
10-year-old need to be walking around in the streets, living life.
I'm more street savvy.
Money. What are you
I'm more
about?
Street savvy though, and I know not to get took. I know I ain't gonna get took. I know I ain't gonna get chumped, and I know I ain't gonna get killed by no cops because I know how I roll.
Yeah, but why does a kid need to know that at 7?
True.
Because eventually it's gonna happen. You can't delay it.
But when they get out there, you don't need to bring that into a kid's mind before. It's unnecessary stress. Kids should not feel no stress.
You don't.
Your childhood should only be comprised of happy memories.
You don't teach the jungle.
You don't taken care of.
You don't teach the jungle when you're in the jungle. You teach the jungle before you go there.
Yeah,
and I think the question is, how soon is the lesson
learned? Early.
Well, here's the difference.
You don't want to take the childhood away from the kids.
Exactly.
Though.
This is what I'm saying. Like, for instance, me.
Are you 10 years old? You need to earn.
You'd rather protect the childhood or prolong the adulthood.
Check this out. There's balance.
You can do both.
There's balance. I grew up in the suburbs, but was exposed to hood life too. So like I knew from when I would go to my dad's mom's house in the hood how I should or shouldn't act outside because they taught me at the time. But that had nothing to do with like my whole life. They're not teaching me how to be street smart at 7 simply because I visit Patterson, New Jersey like a few weekends a month. My mom kept
That's a all rough those place, dog.
My mom kept those kind of things separate from me. She let me have a childhood. She let me be a kid. She let me be imaginative. She let me do what I need to do. And that helped me become, I feel like, a more well-rounded adult.
I think I'm well-rounded.
Well, I don't know. Sorry. Like, for instance, I always had a curfew. I always had a bedtime. Like, niggas could be up chilling and talking and, you know, everybody's chilling. But, like, when it was 9 or 8 o'clock or whatever it was, I had to be excused to go to bed because it was an adult time and the kid had to go and mind the kid's business, which was in bed.
So you didn't get to watch late night TV?
Like I would sneak and do that type of shit. Martin. I'm not saying that. Like, I wouldn't sneak and watch, like, Def Comedy Jam or, like, Tales from the Crypt and shit. But, like, that doesn't mean...
I disagree.
What?
I think I'm more well-rounded because I was exposed more.
That doesn't make you more well-rounded in regards to understanding why there's no need to children certain things, but you also don't have kids.
No.
This is also why you don't understand this.
Because my pull-out game is amazing, but anyway.
If you had a kid, you would understand, like, this is your baby. Like, you don't want them exposed to things that's going to make them feel bad in any instance of the word.
I think I'd rather my kid be a rider than a kid.
Okay, so...
like, learn how to cook at, like,
that
7.
don't mean that they're not a kid. You can still teach it. Like, I learned how to make eggs at 8. That's the first thing I learned how to make. So that they can be self-sufficient enough to, like, be okay.
What age did you stop believing in Santa Claus?
I think I was 8. I think I was like 9. Because it wasn't even because someone told me. I realized that it was my mother's handwriting on the presents. It would be like, "Love Santa," and I asked her about it. Like, why are you writing?
My father came home when I was 4, drunk, and said, "We ain't got no Christmas, you ain't no Santa Claus," and I knew. Right then and there.
That's fucked
life
up.
Was life.
That's pretty fucked up.
But I think I'm a more equipped person for bad times now because of that. A lot of people can't handle rough times. That's why, you know, they commit suicide.
Your
like
children should definitely not be privy to your rough times. Period.
Why not?
Because that is not nothing they need to be stressing about. If you're, for instance, I've been in a situation where my fucking lights were out before. Yeah. But my daughter, yes, because my daughter does not need that kind of stress of feeling like, oh, you know, we're not okay. You know, I let her think there was some kind of maintenance issue wrong with the lights. It was fixed in a few days or whatever, you know. There's no need for kids to know that. I never knew my mother struggled, ever. Until I got older and could see for myself. But, like, as a kid, you're just supposed to make sure they're okay, that they got food in their stomachs, fucking a roof over their head, clothes on their back, period. No matter, you do what you got to do to make sure your kids are okay, and they have no reason to know that you're not.
I don't want my future kids in La La Land.
That shit crazy. What do you think, Diamond?
You know, my mother did it the way you're talking about, as far as sheltered us from that stuff. I wish that I had known more. I wouldn't have probably been oblivious to something. You know, I wouldn't have probably been so reckless with some things I did because I didn't know what was going on, like whenever we had a rough time. But, you know, I don't think that you should, you know, harden a kid too soon. I think it also depends on the kid. I think so. It depends on the kid because every kid is different. So it also depends on how your kid is. And, you know, some kids can handle stuff and some kids can't. Some kids will take it too far and some kids will, you know, just, I mean, and then you don't want all your business in the street either. So it's like you kind of got to balance. You kind of got to balance that.
No.
Kids don't know how to hold secrets.
I disagree with that.
They don't. I have a kid and I know. Like,
because you just say how you teach them, you know?
No, all kids tell the truth all the time.
If you put them on game early, you can expect them to ride with you.
When I was dating someone a little seriously and didn't want my daughter's father to know, and she was like, what was it, 5, 4, and 5. And I would tell her, okay, and I mean, like, drill her, like, you don't tell, like, literally, every time I had a chance, you don't tell daddy about so-and-so, you don't tell daddy about so, like, drill her. Guess what? I still had her father on my phone asking me, who's this guy you got to remember?
Because you try to put on game late.
No, it's not too late. How late can it be? She's 4. She's 5. She's seen this guy, and now I got to let you know all the time. You don't tell daddy. You don't tell daddy. You don't tell daddy. Tell her, drilling it. drilling it every day, all day. You don't tell daddy. You don't tell daddy. But what she do?
She told daddy.
Because that's what kids do, though. Kids are super honest. I told one of my mother's friends one time. Well, yeah, because they don't want to get when they don't want to get in trouble. But when they're just being themselves, they just talk. Yo, if a kid, you don't understand one thing because you don't have kids. Kids don't have nothing to talk about. So your kids will literally only talk about the things that they've seen or have done in the last 24 hours. That's all they can do. They have nothing to talk about. They'll go to school and come home and tell you all these random insignificant things and just talk about them because they have nothing else to talk about. If they spend all day you got them in a kid
mentality.
No, bro, because they're fucking kids.
Not if you train them early.
Not if you train them early. Fucking 5. What mentality do they? You don't need to have kids.
I was a rider for my parents. Both my parents were junkies, and I rode out with them. Never snitched.
This is
my father beat me up. The cops came. Never snitched.
You had a different upbringing.
True.
You had a very, and this is not me being shady. You had a very different upbringing. So your view on the world is definitely going to be skewed because you had an unconventional, unorthodox upbringing.
No, I had a regular one according to a lot of people that's just like me.
Well, okay. There are other people that may be in the same situation, but that's not atypical. I mean, like, for instance, you just said both of your parents, were into things.
Yeah.
They were into things.
Into drugs.
They were into things. I'm trying to be all right. Cool. They were into drugs. Fine. They were
crack
into drugs.
And coke.
And this is again me not being derogatory at all. I'm just discussing it. So your parents were into drugs, and because of that, your upbringing was rough.
I wouldn't per se it was rough. It was more I was aware.
You handled it the way that you handled it because it's what you had.
I knew the world.
You handled the cards that you were dealt. However, that is not how things typically go in most families. And again, I understand that it seems normal, especially if you know other people that's been in the same situation. It is not atypical, meaning like it really is not the standard of how people typically raise their children. And that could be why it's a disconnect for you understanding why it's very important to preserve innocence. It could be a part of the reason maybe some of your views may be skewed about certain things that other people may not see. If I
lived the life of, I was comfortable, I knew I had like a certain amount, of course I would try to preserve my child's innocence. But if I know I have a child, let's just say right now, let's just say we like, I'm like, damn, you can't go on this trip. I'm not gonna lie to her, lie to him or her.
Well, no,
I'm just straight up. I'm like, yo, you can't go to this trip this year. We broke. I'm not gonna say, blah blah blah. I'm like, we broke.
You very well tell your child that they can't go on the trip. Maybe you, depending on the age, maybe you word it a little bit differently. Sometimes they don't need to know that they don't understand. Well, first of all, they don't understand, bro. Trust me, kids just don't understand. But so you learn that you word it based on where you can meet them at. You got to meet people in the middle, regardless if they're an adult or a kid. You got to meet people in the middle. So if your kid's 5 and they don't even understand the concept of $1, we can't make this trip happen right now. Mommy can't do it. Mommy can't. Whatever you say to make them understand, because they're not gonna understand. We broke.
Oh, I'm gonna tell them straight up, we broke.
Kid's not gonna get it.
If you let them know at a certain age that, like you said, it is how you grow up. But like, if my father had something, like I ain't got it. And I said, true, I'm gonna get it myself. My father took my prom money. He said, I ain't got it. And I said, all right. Went out and I got that shit my goddamn self.
Different upbringing. It's interesting though.
Everybody that went to Callaway Elementary School, parent was a junkie.
You went to what?
Callaway Elementary over West.
That's wild, bro.
Everybody, that was probably the biggest place that crack hit. Everybody in Baltimore. In Baltimore. You can't even deny it. 10%, but 90% of our parents were junkies and they knew each other. So we was all going through the same struggle line because everybody was on fucking lunch tickets, but we lied about it. Everybody lied, say they got money, but we ain't had no money. Nobody had money. All our parents were junkies, and then we knew, like at a certain age, we knew it is what it is in this world. So we're gonna maneuver how we got maneuver. Now, if you teach them, now some people didn't. Some people maneuver. Some people maneuver on their own. They wasn't taught, so that's how they got into a life of crime. My parents let me know what it is, and told me how to strive for something different.
Because you were being brought up in a very intense environment. Now, I feel like the way you think would definitely be applicable to a child in a similar situation. But for the general consensus of people that typically just have like, you know, maybe even if it's single parent or both parent, whatever it is, but it's just like a standard household without that complication, it wouldn't apply. It wouldn't be as easy to apply that way of thinking because not only is it just, you know, unorthodox, it's also not the norm for around you. So to expose your child to certain things that they have no idea about because they don't see it at all, even through like you, then that would be really extreme for a child and hard to grasp. But in a child in your situation that you grew up in, absolutely, I understand then why, you know, they would expose you to certain things. They had to because life was real. Life was happening in front of you. So you had to be exposed to it. You had no choice. But in most instances where that's not the case, you don't expose kids to that because they have no idea about it. And it's a beautiful thing to let kids just be kids and to grow up. And then as they grow, meet them at those levels and help them understand where they're at. You give too many kids.
I kind of agree with you.
It's kind of like giving someone rope to hang themselves with. You know what I mean?
But I just don't want to spoil kids, so I'm going to let them know early how it is. Like, I want my kid to have a job at 13.
I think you should break the mold for what you came from. I feel like since that's not your situation, you shouldn't rock from it. You should rock differently because it's not your situation.
I want to, but I think I became a better person because of it. Because I couldn't imagine who I would be if I was spoiled.
Well, here's the thing.
Or I was naive.
That's simply because of what you grew up into. If you had grown up with parents that didn't have that complication, you wouldn't feel that way because it would just be what it is. Because that is what it is with most people.
I think I would feel privileged, like the world owes me.
No, that's
and
not
I feel
true.
like the world don't owe me.
And the only reason you would feel that way is because you are where you are, and you came from what you came from. It makes you stronger, no doubt, because you've been through some shit you shouldn't have been through at that age. So it definitely builds a shell and a wall, and it makes it harder for you to be able to relate to people that don't have that same mentality.
Oh yeah, I can't relate at all.
Exactly, but that's problematic because that you're in a smaller percentage than the rest of us.
I think.
No.
Well, in the city that I grew up in, I think I'm in a majority.
In the area that you grew up in, that you're saying from what you explained, that's a small demographic in regards to the world. So. Although it's not
crack hit a lot of cities in the 80s.
I was gonna say, just because it happens doesn't mean that it is a common occurrence. I mean, across the board, out of 100%, there may be 30%. You know what I mean? Like it's not the norm. So I feel like you should be the example for your kid in terms of this is what I came from, but this is where we at, and this is where we going. I don't think you should teach from there. You need to teach from here. It'd be better.
I see spoiled kids and I just don't like it. I see kids as kids.
It's not spoiled. It's not spoiled at all. It's the way it's supposed to be.
We just gonna have to agree to disagree on that one.
Trying to reach you. What do you think, Dad?
Well, I don't like spoiled kids.
So I don't think that's spoiled.
I definitely agree from there. You can't go too far with the baby and other kids, which is what gives you the spoiled kid. So, I mean, I think it's a balance of both. I think you need to teach kids what's going on. You do need to prepare them as they grow. But one thing that caused me and my father to disagree when I was younger is that my father talked to me the same way you talk to an adult. So a lot of stuff he said went over my head. I didn't get it. He didn't bring it to a kid's level so I could understand and then start expanding on it. It's just once I got to an older age, he talked to me the same way he always talked to me, but I started to get it. And it clicked. So he wasn't saying nothing no different to me than he's always said. I just didn't get it. I didn't get it.
No, it clicked eventually. No, it clicked eventually.
Yeah, but it didn't click at the time he brought it to him.
It don't matter.
Time.
Sometimes you got to plant that seed. And be like, oh shit, he did say this to me.
That's true.
This day would come, and the day gonna come. It's inevitable.
That's true.
Everybody not gonna face every situation and every hardship that you did.
Whoa, but as a black male, we all face the
same. If you know about it, then you won't. You may not fall victim to it if you know about it. I agree. I agree with what he's saying. I just think it just depends. I think it depends on when you reveal that depends on the mentality of the kid.
For instance, I have family members that have done drugs. Like I have a family member whose house was like the #1 crackhead spot in our town. Like that's where they all hung out. So like I have been exposed to it in terms of knowing like, okay, there is this part of life that happens to certain people, and based on their decisions, like I knew that enough to know like, okay, well, you don't ever want to go there. You don't want to do that. Even outside, just seeing them around, like seeing like crackheads on the street. That to me is all kids need to know. You see and know what not to do based on like, okay, you see this happening to these people. You don't want that. I don't feel like anything further, unless questions are asked, needs to be delved. I just feel like kids be kids.
See, you think a kid's gonna be kids. I think a kids need to be I think a kid is training for adulthood.
Adolescents should be training for adulthood. They're young
adults. No, because you got to train your kids for adolescence. Because you gotta let them know, like,
teach
look,
them right or wrong.
No, you let them like when you start getting the puberty, you gonna hate me. You gonna be like, yo, I hate dad, I hate mom. They gonna do this. You gotta let them know, like, listen, you gonna go do some changes in life. You gotta do that early, and you gotta let them know, especially like, life changed for me at like 13. That's when cops looked at me as like a man, like, oh, he could be an issue in life. And that's when you start getting harassed. So you think I'm supposed to learn that at like 12? No. If I didn't know that by like 9 and 13, like, look.
I feel like that is a very separate issue that, of course, everyone should understand that.
It's training.
We're talking about general life and like struggles with money and all kind of stuff.
That's why kids used to go to work at 13. You got to know what's going to happen in early in life.
Kids go to work at 15.
I'm talking about back in the day before the Industrial Revolution.
We weren't here for that. We can't speak to that.
Get these kids to work.
We can't speak to that.
You gotta know how to be an adult.
But anyway, we on a wild tangent. Right.
No.
We on a wild tangent.
You gotta pay your goddamn dues.
We gotta take a next break because we don't have a whole lot of time. We still got a topic discussion, but we'll be back with my boy Chris. Oh God.